Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for round 7 of the TTML Division 3 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Commenters. I'll be taking you through Division 3 proceedings on a Thursday evening, as always. And as always, joining me in the commentary box is TTG Conti. Conti, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Yeah, I just told you about my new TV came in today, so really excited to watch Formula One for the first time on this TV.
Yeah, it'll
And
be
how
good.
about yourself, Aiden?
Yeah, doing really well. It's been a busy week so far, but yeah, looking forward to again another really good race in Division 3. We've had such a cracking season so far, and I'm sure you're really excited to watch Division 3 on your new TV. That's going to be absolutely brilliant. I think this is probably the perfect date to get your new TV. But yeah, the season so far, I think we've said it so many times. I think people are probably getting bored of us saying it, but this has been a brilliant season so far. We're only on the 7th round of the season. We've still got 5 to go, including this one. We've just passed the halfway point, and everything changed in the championship standings last time out. B Morgan has really been the front runner all season long, but a few races in a row now where he hasn't been able to get the best result possible. And then unfortunately last time out at Silverstone, in a racing incident with Nolan, he ended up in the barriers coming out of Stowe about the midpoint of the race, so he didn't score any points last time out, while his championship rival Jan came home to win the Grand Prix, his first win in TTML and his 4th podium of the season. So Jan now leads the championship by 13 points over B Morgan, who now runs second. Isotopic came and finished 3rd last time out, having run at the back of the field for the entirety of the race really. Ended up finishing on the podium because of penalties. He's on 102 points, and then Simply Superman is 4th on 96. And the top 4 there, the top 4 are now 20 points clear of Sean, who's now running in 5th place in the standings. You've got to say that at this point in the season, it's kind of a 4-horse race for the championship now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's been close all season long, from P1 to P10, but a little gap starting to form now between Simply Superman and Sean. But yeah, we've seen it before. Just one mistake, and with the point system we run here, which I'm quite a big fan of. It's not decided yet, and Sean, Hero Joke, and Kiki are not out of it as well. So yeah, anything can happen. But so far, it's just they're treating us to good races every week in, week out.
Yeah, and like you say, obviously with the point system we run, if you make a mistake, it's brutal on you, especially with such a short season, only 11 races. You can't really afford to have a race like B Morgan had last time out, unfortunately. And like I said just a little bit earlier on, B Morgan has been the front runner all season. Do you see this as an opportunity for him to bounce back, or do you think Jan can build on the momentum that he's had over the last few races?
Yeah, kind of both. I mean, Jen is a good driver, but I think B Morgan is a bit quicker than Jen overall, and it just depends on him not making any more mistakes. If he has a bad run starting from last week because he just had a bummer of a race because of his crash, and that's in his head, he can really get himself out of the championship. But overall, I think he should be good, and he's the faster of the two.
Yeah, I think he's definitely the faster of the two as well. I'll have to wait and see whether he can capitalise on that speed that he's got. He's shown it many times this season. He should be a massive multiple race winner this season. It's just never quite gone his way right in the midpoint of the season. Steve is the first person out onto the track. And Steve, he's had a good... Well, I mean, in terms of speed, he's shown a lot of speed this season. He's run in the top 10 quite a few times. But looking at the points, Steve is not in the top 20 in the points at the moment. It's just such a shame for him, really, because obviously his teammate Jan leads the championship, so he'll be hoping to try and pick it up in the second half of the season, especially with the manufacturers battle we now have as well. We've obviously got Renault in the lead of manufacturers by 15 points, but the gap between Williams, Racing Point and Mercedes, 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the championship, is 1 point. So Mercedes are really going to want Steve to start bringing in the results.
Yeah, they really need to, and we've seen last season that he's able to do that. He's a good driver, but just hasn't gone his way. Just had a run of bad luck this season. But as soon as his luck will change, such as Lighty did at the end of last season, for example, or Sean the last couple of races, he should be good, bring home some points, and maybe not able to win the championship, but be able to contribute to the Constructors' Championship points.
Yeah, obviously that is just as big as a battle really is as the Drivers' Championship. So a lot of pride to be taken in that one. Renault obviously lead the way currently with Harry Nowalgo, B Morgan, but their points dropped compared to Mercedes last time out with Jan's race victory. So we're going to ride with Steve then for a lap around the circuit, Spa-Francorchamps. What an iconic track this one is. He heads down the relatively short pit straight towards the La Source hairpin. A little bit of an uphill braking zone here, so you don't have to worry too much about braking early. It dips down at the apex of the corner. You can lose the traction on the exit a little bit. Steve, a little bit of a wobble, but not too bad. We now head down towards Eau Rouge and then up through Raidillon, one of the most iconic corners in Formula 1. Easily flat out in modern Formula 1 cars. This goes up Raidillon, over the top of the hill, and now onto the Spack Straight, the Kemmel Straight. This is the first of 2 DRS zones around this track. Everyone, meanwhile, is on the track at the moment. Everyone's getting a lap in as early as possible. End of the first sector here, now into the Les Combes chicane. Don't take too much curb on the left-hand part because you can unsettle the car before Malmedy there. Through Malmedy, don't run a little bit too wide. Steve had to back off the throttle there, a little bit of understeer, and now into Beau Rivage. A downhill right-hander seems to go on forever. So easy to lock up a tyre there. A little bit of a delayed throttle input there from Steve as he heads down through the corner with no name, and then down the hill into Pouon, probably the most challenging corner on the track now. After Eau Rouge and Raidillon is now easily flat out. Steve hits the curb on the inside, has to back out of the throttle once again. It's a little bit of a messy lap so far. It now heads into the Fania chicane. A little bit of a lazy chicane this one is. It goes on forever. Don't take too much curb. You can unsettle the car. He now heads down towards Stavelot and the end of the second sector. That's pretty much where all the corners are at this track, are in the middle sector. Through Curveball Frere, and now the back straight that isn't really straight. It's still a great overtaking opportunity coming down through Blanchimont and into the bus stop chicane. If you can get the run coming out of Curveball Frere through Blanchimont, then easily flat once again. No worries about that. And now into the braking zone for the bus stop. Don't brake too late because you can compromise your run through the entire chicane. Steve gets it stopped nice and early, gets a squared off run for the final part of the bus stop, and now the short dash to the line. First lap time from Steve in qualifying is going to be a 1 minute 42.7, and behind him on the track we've got one of the Williams cars. I believe that might be Old School coming up to the line. It is, and he does a 42 flat, goes 7/10 of a second clear at the front of the field. TNR Steph now goes onto provisional pole with a 41.8. B Morgan goes second on a 42 flat. Harry Nowalgo 42.7, slowest of the drivers so far. Break FN goes fourth. Everyone lap times relatively quickly here. Isotopic only a 43.6. The two Red Bulls now, Kelvin crosses line and Frederick. Frederick goes fifth. David Child goes into sixth place. The next racing point of Langfeld will cross the line. He's going to do, let's see what he can do, goes fourth on a 42.2, and the McLaren is into the pit lane. That's Frosty Calvin on debut. He wasn't able to set a time. Kiki crosses the line on the mediums and does a 42.9 to go P10 for the time being. Jan goes only 12th, but he's also on the medium tyres as well. That's put him outside the top 10. He'll have to improve if he wants to get inside the top 10. Lighty only 10th in the Ferrari, and now the Alpha Tauri of Tekken crosses the line on the medium tyres as well in 12th, and Hero Jokin dives into the pit lane. So everyone pretty much already getting the running apart from Calvin and Hero Jokin. And once again, Steph is at the front early on in qualifying.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of races now that out of the first lap he's really quick, and last time he had pole position, I believe it was his first lap as well, and wasn't able to improve on it, but the others weren't able to do it as well. So yeah, great lap from him. 41.8 as a banker lap is really good, but I think these guys can do better, and 41.4 somewhere around those numbers that will come out today.
Yeah, mid to low 41 is what you could probably expect for qualifying. And Steph, at the moment, the only one in the 41, so no one else has been able to match it. But once again, B Morgan and Old School at the front of the field in qualifying. Old School looking to bounce back. He, like B Morgan in the past few rounds, hasn't quite had it all his own way. He's made a couple of mistakes or been involved in some unfortunate incidents, and he's not been able to get the points he would have wanted. After an early challenge for the championship lead, he now runs down in 9th place in the points, so he's looking for a really strong end to the season to try and throw himself back into the mix if he can. A little bit further down the field though, Jan 14th on the medium tyres, Isotopic 15th with not really a representative time. They're going to have to try and get another lap in as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they have to, and I don't know, maybe Kiki, Tekken and Jen will go on these tyres, but yeah, Jen can definitely do better, and Kiki as well. And I'm really curious to see Frosty Kelvin. It's a new driver. It's his home track. It's a Belgium guy. Really curious to see what he can do today.
Yeah, and McLaren, like we were saying before the stream, McLaren have not had the season that they would have wanted. Valois is one of their drivers. They are currently 10th in the standings on, I believe, 35 points. It's just not been a good season so far for McLaren. So Frosty Calvin, a new person in the McLaren, maybe just to revitalise their championship a little bit. Meanwhile, Lighty has gone up into 7th place on his second lap on the same set of soft compound tyres of 42.3. So that's on the second lap around the longest track on the calendar. So you would imagine Lighty should be able to find a bit more time in that, continuing to improve on his pace as he cuts across the Les Combes chicane. We're going to ride with Frosty Calvin though on his first proper lap in qualifying. He invalidated his first run, unfortunately. Can he get a clean run in the second time around? Goes through the bus stop chicane, a little bit of a wide entry into the final part just for the best run onto the pit straight, and now back down towards La Source once again. We saw on board with Steve what he was able to do. A 42.7 put him 9th. So what can Frosty Calvin do on debut on his first lap? He's going to have a little bit of traffic. One of the Alfa Romeo's breaker fenders in front of him on the track, but I imagine he won't get in the way. He'll probably move out the way down the Kemmel Straight once again up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Nice and neat through there, not having to hit the apexes on the inside or the outside of the corner. Don't want to unsettle the car because it can spin at the top of the hill, especially in wet conditions. Looks like we're going to get away with no wet conditions in qualifying, which is good to see. Down into Les Combes chicane, 29.9 for the first sector. Nice and neat through there. Downshift a little bit in the middle of Les Combes and now through Malmedy. Again, nice and neat. He's not pushing the limits of the track. He's not overextending too much. We saw Steve maybe pushing a little bit too hard. I think Calvin's taking the opposite strategy. He's keeping it nice and clean, nice and cautious. May not be as fast as he would have wanted, but it should keep him on the road nicely. There's Break FN moving out the way down towards P1. That's good to see. Calvin then into P1, takes a lot of entry curb on the left right hand side of the track before turning in. Doesn't touch the curb on the inside. Again, nice and neat through there. Had to downshift into 7th gear before getting the car in. Once again into the Fania chicane. Again, not using a lot of curb. Uses more on the second part of the chicane. And now down into Savoy, the end of the second sector. What is the second sector time? It's looked like a neat lap so far. 13.4. Now through Curve, Paul Frere, and then up towards Blanchimont. Again, a really, really long run. Easily flat out all the way to the braking zone. It's looked like a nice and neat lap so far for Frosty Calvin. Hero Joking is also on a lap. Currently in the middle sector, I believe, in that Alpha Tauri. So look out for him. Race winner at the first race of the season. Coming into the final chicane then, Frosty Calvin. Again, nice and neat, not having to use too much of the curb. A little bit wide there at the second apex at the bus stop chicane, but up to the line. And Calvin's time is a 41.6. Wow, what a lap time from Calvin. First qualifying lap in Division 3, and he goes straight onto provisional pole position. I thought it was a nice and clean lap. I don't think he had that much pace in it, but wow, that's an incredible win.
Yeah, it is, and his driving style is quite aggressive, and I really, really like it. I mean, he throws it into the corners. He's using a lot of entry and exit curves on the entry and exit. So yeah, beautiful lap and good first impression.
Yeah, definitely a good first impression. Steph, meanwhile, improved on his first set to a 10th.5 up on his personal best, so he's found time already. Hero Jokins now on a lap. It was a 13.4 by the end of the second sector for Calvin. Hero Jokin a 13.5, so he's looking to try and put himself at the front of the field as well. Remember, people might be running a little bit of compromise strategy around this track because you have so many corners in the middle sector, but these long straights in the first and the third, so you're not going to see running high downforce around this track. There was a little bit of a rain. There was a little bit of rain falling on my screen, I think. So maybe we are going to get a little bit of weather interference in this one as Hero Jokin now goes through the final chicane, much neater than Calvin. So can Hero Jokin put himself on the front row? He goes second place with a 41.686. Once again, how close is qualifying in Division 3 as Steph coming around the last corner. Yeah, he's massively improved on his time. What's his final sector like? It's a good final sector, 4/10 up, a 41.4. A great improvement from Steph. So unlike Silverstone, he's able to improve on his best time. And now Old School coming into the final chicane. Has he been able to find any time? He took so many pole positions at the start of the season. Can he put himself back at the front of the field? He goes P2 with a 41.6, half a second improvement. So people finding quite a bit of time out there at the moment. Break FN will be next across the line. He's he's 3/10 of a second up on his personal best. He does a 42 flat and goes P7 just behind B Morgan. Isotopic now goes 5th after his first representative lap in the session. We've got more people coming up to the line now. B Morgan goes P5 on a 41.7. That's a good improvement from him. Here comes Kiki on his first lap on the soft tyres, goes P6 on a 41.9. Harry Noir crosses the line, only 15th for the time being. The next Alpha Tauri driver crosses the line. That was Tekken, goes P12 on a 42.4. We've got more drivers coming around the last corner. One of the Ferraris, that will be Lighty. He's coming around to start his final run, and then Calvin has just dived into the pit lane at the end of his in-lap. But my word, a lot of people finding a lot of time, and it's Steph once again back at the front. So this time round, Steph able to improve and is finding pace.
Yeah, he did. 41.4, beautiful lap time, and yeah, maybe you're right, and it's gonna be low, really low 41, and yeah, raindrops definitely are on my screen
Mm.
now. So I think this was the last one for everybody in time improvement. So throw the low 41s out of the window now.
Yeah,
But
that's
great lap and great time.
Yeah, great time to set it as well. Steph was able to get it in as early as possible. This weather's only going to get worse, and that's going to massively affect the person that's currently 17th on the grid. Our championship leader, Jan, hasn't set a time on the soft compound tyres yet. A little bit bizarre that he went out on the mediums at the start. If it was going to rain at the end of the session, that kind of felt like a little bit of a waste of a run on a set of soft tyres. So Jan, now currently 17th, is only 0.4 of a second up on his personal best. Just goes to show that the grip is disappearing from the track. That will only gain him one place on the grid. So Jan's got to nail this final chicane. Brakes nice and late, but again, just a little bit of a lock up there. He's struggling a little bit on the brakes. There's not a lot of grip out there. Comes through the final corner, comes up to the line. Where can Jan put that car? It's a 42.7. He stays 17th.
Light and goats.
Light is out of the session as well. Has he crashed? I think he has. He's crashed coming through curve pull Frere. It was just on board with Kelvin. Kelvin had to dart out of the way. He's crashed down in 12th place, and Jan's retired on the track as well. But Jan, going out on the medium tyres at the start of the session when it's going to rain at the midpoint of the session, just feels like a bit of waste of a good opportunity to do a lap on the soft tyres. And Jan has only cost himself, he only really has himself to blame there, because he's gone out too late on a set of softs, and the championship leader will start last.
Yeah, yeah, incredible. I mean, if you only, I mean, this is quite a long track, so if you know it's gonna rain, you have to make the best of it and get on the quickest tire as quick as you can. And unless he's doing, he's really confident doing a last to first challenge, he just, yeah, it's gonna cost him massively today.
It really is. That is a big shock. Jan has been incredibly consistent. We haven't really seen Jan put a foot wrong all season. It's been such a good season for the Mercedes man. But this time round, he goes out at the start of the session on a set of medium compound tyres, and it starts raining at the midpoint. Didn't give himself enough time to sell a lap on the soft, so our championship leader will start last in the session unless anyone disqualifies. But pretty much everyone is nearly back in the pit lane. Langfeld and Frederick have gone back out onto the track on a new set of soft compound tyres, but you would imagine they're not going to find any pace on this track at the moment. People are sliding around all over the place, so we're just really waiting to see what Frederick and the likes of that do. Frederick's just started his next run, but you would imagine it's not going to be that fast. Langfeld on the track behind him as well. I think we can safely say that this is going to be the order for qualifying, so we have to really congratulate Steph on another pole position, his second pole position in a row.
Yeah, he's doing great, and now let's hope he can hold this and have a good race, because I believe it was last week, right? He was really unfortunate. I know it was his last pole position, but I'm not sure if it was last week. But he was really unfortunate and couldn't finish the race. But yeah, it seems like on board with Frederick, it's qualifying over. There's no time to find anywhere now. So I think this is what it is.
Yeah, it might be that. Well, just on board with Langfeld. Langfeld was only a 10th down on his personal best in the first sector, but it's going to be the middle sector where you're going to see these drivers lose time, and you can already tell Langfeld having to back off massively through P1, so it's just really no grip out there at the moment. One of the Renaults has gone out on track. That's been Morgan, second place in the championship on the grid currently, has gone out on another set of soft compound tyres, maybe hoping that for some reason the rain dies off. You never know. Langfeld through the second sector point. He's only 2/10 down, so he's not lost a lot of time. So I'm wondering whether the rain's not falling hard enough to make that much of a difference. Langfeld has invalidated on the exit of I can't remember the name of the corner now. Stavolo, there you go. The names escape my head every 2 seconds. But yeah, Langfeld invalidated on the exit of Stavolo, but he's only 0.2 of a second down on his personal best. He'll dive into the pit lane, maybe to go for a final run, but I don't imagine he'll have enough time to get in, change the tyres, and get back out again. We've only got 2 minutes left, so we'll wait and see what the likes of Kiki and B. Morgan can do. They've just gone out on outlaps, and Tekken's out on the track as well. He's coming around to start a run. So the fact that Langfeld was only 0.2 of a second down, maybe if we get an incredible lap from Tekken, David, B. Morgan or Kiki, they could spring a surprise and jump to the front of the field.
Yeah, maybe. I hope they can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it may not be getting slower the track, but it's definitely not going to be quicker with the drizzle that's falling right now. But yeah, we'll see. And I'm kind of curious what the weather will be in the race. I mean, it is Spa. Normally, you've got rain and sunshine in a race packed together. So yeah, really curious to see what's going to be there.
Yeah, very often you see it in Spa in real life. It's raining down at La Source and it's bone dry up at Lake Om. So you never know. We could have a wet race or we could have a dry race. I don't think we've actually had a full wet race this season yet in Division 3. We had a full wet race last season at Vietnam, and that was probably one of the cleanest races we had all season because people were just, I think, so terrified of putting the car in the wall at Vietnam. So who knows what a wet race could bring, and a wet race around Spa would fit perfectly. It definitely would. Tekken, meanwhile, is on a lap in the AlphaTauri. He was only 400ths of a second down on his personal best in the first sector. He's currently 13th on the grid, looking to get a little bit further up. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with how his season has gone through the second sector point, and there you go, 1.1 seconds down. He's found no time whatsoever in the middle part of the lap, so that's this lap over for him. We'll go with B Morgan. He was only slightly down in the first sector as well. He is now coming through the middle part of the lap. He's definitely pushing. He's not backing out of this lap whatsoever. He's going for it. We've just had, I believe David has just crossed the first sector spot as well in the Alfa Romeo, and Kiki's just started his final run as well. Qualifying will be over in about 10 seconds. We're just waiting for people to cross the line. Tekken will be the first to cross the line. He's completely backed off though. I'm wondering if he's given himself enough time to do another run, but I don't think he's going to be able to do so. He's just slowing down. Actually, he is just slowing down for the time to run out, I think. So the time runs out and he crosses the line and he doesn't have to do another run. B Morgan, yeah, a second down in the middle sector. These guys aren't going to find any time unless miraculously it dries out instantly, and you never know with this game what could happen. But yeah, B Morgan through the final sector, 9/10 in the middle sector alone, lost through the final sector, and you can see just him wobbling all over the place there through the bus stop. So he's not going to find any time. 1.9 seconds down at the end of the lap, so he stays 5th on the grid. Kiki's on a lap. He's 2/10 down in the first sector. David's down as well by 8/10 of a second on his bus. Oh, has he lost it? Yeah, he has. Yeah, gone through Puon. So I wonder if he's clipped the curb on the inside or just spun it just under the slippery conditions. I didn't quite see that, but yeah, Kiki not improving. So we just wait for David to cross the line. Currently 14th on the grid. Will stay 14th on the grid unless he sets a miraculous final sector, which he will not. Crosses the line, stays 14th on the grid. So qualifying was a bit of an anticlimax in the end, but those people that went out and got their lap times in early were the ones that benefited from it. And for the second week running, Steph is going to get pole position. Old School back on the front row. Great to see him at the front of the grid. Frosty Calvin on debut. What a debut qualifying for him. 3rd on the grid ahead of Hero Jokin. His best qualifying in a long time. B Morgan 5th, well ahead of his championship rival Jan at the moment. Kiki runs 6th ahead of Isotopic in 7th. Break FN runs 8th ahead of Langfell 9th. And Steve rounds off the top 10. Frederick will be the first person outside the top 10 in 11th place ahead of Lighty Tekken. David, Kelvin, Harry Noag, and our championship leader Jan waited too late to do a lap on the soft compound tyres. He will start last on the grid. So Jan will be hoping for an utterly crazy race. He's been so consistent recently, has had 3 podiums in a row. He's going to have to hope for some carnage to try and to keep that form up.
Yeah, he needs some carnage, some lap one, turn one incidents in front of him, which he can miraculously not get be part in it. But yeah, besides that, and but still, it's Spa. A mistake is made really quickly, and it's pretty sunny in the race, so. That's a good thing for the drivers.
Yeah, it looks like we're not going to have any. It doesn't look like we're going to have any wet weather interference, but that does mean that the people that qualified on the softs in the top 10 will have to use that set of soft compound tyres because obviously they said it in the qualifying session. So that means that people outside the top 10 will still have the advantage of a fresh set of tyres. And yeah, like you say, around Belgium, if you do make a mistake here, you can pay a hefty price because obviously this track is very high speed and the speed you're running at when you go off at some of these corners, the walls aren't that far away. If you think about it, some of the walls, especially up through on and through a corner with no name and places like that, the walls stick by the side of the track, so a small error can cost you massively here. But looking at the front of the field, who are you going to put your money on to have a race in here today?
Yeah, it's every race. It's a couple of guys, but Frosty Kelvin, it's his home race, so I would put him on the podium, and yeah, I hope Steph will keep a podium spot today. But still, I think B Morgan, he's so quick and such a good racer. I think he will. Don't know the order, but he will finish on the podium as well. That's my 3 podium guys for today.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Steph as well. I think he'll try and right the wrongs at Silverstone. Obviously, him and Nolan in the 2 Haas cars last time out were really in a class of their own. They were kind of the only person that was challenging them was B Morgan before his crash, and then after that, the 2 Haas cars kind of disappeared off into the distance. The safety car cost them both massively with the penalties they had, so that's why Steph didn't end up finishing on the podium last time out while winning the race on track. But who knows if he can make it up this time around. And it is a little bit easier to manage penalties around this circuit. There's less areas that you can really run wide and pick up a penalty. Old School will want to be trying to get back on the podium, so I'm going to look out for Old School in this one. I think he might be the one to watch today, trying to get back really in this fight at the front of the championship standings. And like you say, Calvin has to here, but you can't bet against P. Morgan being on that podium. It's always been race pace that's been his strong suit. Well, he qualifies 5th. That's not a bad qualifying result by any stretch of the way, but qualifying's never really been his strong suit, has it?
No, it's definitely not a one-lap wonder. But his race pace, yeah, it's just so good, and his racecraft as well. I mean, usually not the one to make mistakes. Although last week it went wrong for him, but yeah. He's gonna win some places, and yeah, he's the guy to look for in the first couple of laps.
He is, yeah. Looking a bit further down the road, by the way, people outside the top 10. Frederick and Lighty have gone for a set of medium compound tyres. Tekken has gone for a set of softs. Luton get past Frederick and Lighty fairly early on. David, Calvin, Harry Nawag and Jan have all gone for the medium tyres, as you would expect. By the way, we do have a couple people missing tonight. Simply Superman isn't here, so that means that he's going to lose out in the championship battle. Currently 4th in the standings. Only, I believe, 5 points at the moment behind Isotopic in the standings, so that's a shame for him. And Sean as well, who moved up into 5th in the championship last time out, is not here either in the Red Bull. So those two are going to struggle against the rivals in the championship standings. But we're getting ready for round 7 of the season. It's Steph once again on pole position. Old School back on the front row. Who is going to get the best start down towards the source? It's a relatively short run. The more important one is probably through Rouge and Radion and up towards Lecom. Lined up the back of the field then, Harry Nawag and Jan line up at the back row of the grid. So here come the lights then ahead of the drivers. Who's going to get the best start off the front row? Is it the Hassel, the Williams car? Lights are out and away they go, and it looks a fairly even start. It actually looks like Steph has had a brilliant start from the inside. He's clear into turn 1. B. Morgan has had a brilliant start in the Renault. He's already looking down the inside of Hero Jokin and Frosty Calvin into turn 1. He keeps 4th place, I believe, ahead of Hero Jokin. Calvin stays in 3rd, but down towards Eau Rouge. Old School's already challenging B. Morgan side by side with Calvin, heading down towards Eau Rouge. B. Morgan has to back out of it. Calvin nearly loses the car. Coming up through Radion, B. Morgan backing off. And now here comes Isotopic around the outside. He's had a good start in the Racing Point, trying to get past Hero Jokin as well, who's being swamped at the start. Meanwhile, Steph has been swamped down towards Lecom by Old School. Old School's got the move done. He waited for the straight and he's got ahead. Steph wobbles on the curb there through Lecom, drops the 2nd place. Calvin's trying to capitalise on that as well. Now B. Morgan still trying to work his way forwards. Isotopic, a great start for the Racing Point man, up 2 places. In 5th place, Hero Jokin's dropped 2 places. He's down to 6th. Breaker Fenn's had a good start. Kiki has dropped places as well. Lighty's in the top 10 on the medium tyres. He's battling with Langpel at the moment. We've got a car wide in the background. Frosty Calvin's lost the place down to B. Morgan, down towards Puwon, and he's wide once again through Puwon, so he's struggling on this open lap. B. Morgan beautifully for him, up into 3rd place, but what a start from Old School. He timed it perfectly.
Yeah, he did. He stayed behind, slipstreamed on Camel Straight, and flew by Steph and closed the door just for the corner. But B. Morgan as well. I mean, from P5 to P3 already. Great start from him. And in midfield there are some furious battles with Steve, Blankel, Leidy, and Frederick. So yeah, action packed already.
You want Break FN going for a move on Hero Joking down towards the bus stop. Isn't able to make the move. Stick Isotopic's going for a move on Calvin. Calvin's really struggling on this opening lap. He doesn't seem to have a lot of grip. The car's sliding all over the place. And Isotopic's going to go for the outside line down towards the source. Calvin will have the inside line, the better line for the corner. Can Isotopic get the run? Maybe down towards Rouge and Radion. He's got a brilliant run coming out the corner. He's got a nose ahead. He's using the ERS to get the move done on the McLaren man, who has to back out. So Isotopic is up yet another place. He's trying to throw himself in this championship ring. He's only 3 points behind B. Morgan in the standings. So these two are trying to gain on Jan at the moment, who's up to 15th. Meanwhile, Frosty Calvin's trying to come back at Isotopic down towards Lecom. He's going to look down the inside line. Isotopic is going to stick on the racing line around the outside. Gives Calvin enough room, but will have the better line for the second part of the chicane. And Calvin gets a little bit loose on the curb as well, so he has to back out of it. Isotopic up another place. What a dream start for Isotopic as well in the Racing Point, trying to work his way towards the top 3. Old School, though, at the front of the field has got the race pace. He's disappearing at the moment.
Yeah, he is, slowly but surely, and if he can keep this up, he will be out of DRS when it is going to be activated. But Isotopic and Frosty Calvin, what great racing between these guys. I mean, they're on the edge, but giving each other the respect they deserve, and not crashing each other out. And Steve is really closed in on Kiki now, and Or is it a timing glitch on my? It is a timing glitch on my end.
Meanwhile, Lighty's got moved on Langfell. I don't know if Langfell any mistake as Lighty picks up a time penalty here. Jokin's got one, so was, I believe, Frederick as well. Yeah, but Langfell making a little bit of an error there through the Fania chicane. And Lighty's now into the top 10 on the medium tyres. The medium tyres looking pretty strong at the moment. None of the medium tyres have lost any time. They're all kind of sticking with the soft runners, so look out for that when the race comes into the pit stop phase, how well the medium tyres run as Langfell's trying to come back at Lighty down towards the bus stop, but Lighty will hold the inside line. Old School then the fastest lap of the race of 45.5. Can anyone get close to that time? Lighty's still trying to hold on to 10th place ahead of Langfell. Langfell's trying to come back around the outside down towards the source. This seems like a little bit of a weird move to make, especially with the DRS straight coming up. He's trying to go all the way around the outside of the Ferrari man. Both Racing Points trying exactly the same move on the person they're trying to overtake, but this time round Lighty's putting up more of a fight down towards Eau Rouge, and he will get the move done. He stays in 10th place, but the DRS will be with Langfell. Lighty does have DRS on Steve in front if he wants to defend, but it's gonna be pretty difficult with the straight line speed that Racing Point has. He moves to the inside line. Lighty this time round not fighting it too hard. Langfell has the inside line, but Lighty's gonna hold it around the outside. Little bit of contact, and just like what Isotopic pulled off, Lighty drives clean around the outside, and Langfell holds 10th place. Great aggressive driving from Lighty. He's looking strong on those medium tyres.
Yeah, he does, and in the meanwhile, Old School really disappearing from Steve, because Steve and Morgan were battling a bit. Old School has 1.4 seconds, 1.5 seconds now over Staff, and I think B Morgan really has to earn there's a yellow flag.
That's Harry Nawag, I believe, at the back of the field, who's gone into the wall, maybe at the corner with no name. He's got away with no damage, but he's dropped off the back of the queue now. So he's the first person that's made a mistake, a proper mistake in this race, unfortunately, running down in 17th place. Meanwhile, update on our championship leader, Jan, up to 14th place. He's made 3 places already. He's working his way through nicely. He's now the 3rd person on the medium tyres. Frederick is the next person in front of him, definitely trying to make up for that mistake in qualifying. But at the front of the field, you've got to say, Old School, dream for him is if Steph and B Morgan continue to battle, and it's also a dream as well for Isotopic, who's slowly but surely starting to close in on these two. Yeah, we got more drivers coming around then. Steve having another little bit of a look there on the back of Kiki as we come down towards La Source. Is he going to be a little bit close enough? Obviously, we've got DRS down that pit straight, but it is a relatively short pit straight, so you're not going to see a lot of moves happen there. We've seen a couple already. Lighty's closing in as well on those medium tyres. He's completely dropped Langfell now, so he's looking strong, looking to work his way forwards. Isotopic then 1.5 seconds behind. B Morgan's going to have another run at Steph here, down towards Les Combes chicane. Is he going to look towards the inside? Will Steph hold the race in 9? Look at the straight line speed in that Renault. He's going to power through down the inside. Steph puts up no fight whatsoever, and B Morgan breezes into 2nd place, so he's up yet another place in this one, and Steph from pole position now drops into 3rd place. So B Morgan's on the march forwards. Isotopic, seemingly if he can catch up to Steph, looks like he might have the pace as well. Conti, are you back with us?
I am back. I'm really sorry, my headset wasn't connected right, but oh my, B Morgan really got it going, and now he has to get the pedal to the metal and close the gap to Old School, because if he doesn't, Old School's just gonna disappear. But yeah, the thing for Old School is he's taking step with him because he can't keep up so far. And yeah, they're gonna start to battle, have a 3-way battle after that.
Yeah, obviously looking for pit stops as well. Look for people to come into the pit lane probably around lap 8 in this race. Those on the soft tyres, those on the mediums will probably go to about lap 14 or 15. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Calvin's off from 5th place. He's crashed at Curve Paul Frere. We saw someone do it in qualifying, and that is a full safety car. Now, this throws this wide open. Do people come in and put the medium tyres on and hope they go to the end of the race, or do they stay out on the soft tyres? Old School's coming in. B Morgan is coming in. Is Steph coming in? Yes, he is. Isotopic is coming in. So is Hero. Joking Break. FN's coming in. Kiki's coming in. He will get held up in his pit box by his teammates, so that's a shame for him. Lighty's staying out on those medium tyres. This has not worked out well at all for those on the medium tyres, with all the soft runners now coming into the pit lane, every single one of them into their hands. And now Lighty, Jan, Kelvin, and I believe, well, Frederick is also into the pit lane as well for a set of hard compound tyres. These guys now all coming into the pit lane. Lighty, Jan and Kelvin have basically lost a pit stop to everyone around them.
Yeah, they do, but the people starting on the hards, I mean, yeah, it is a lot of laps on the mediums, but I think they can you can make it on mediums. And a lot of guys going on the hards. I wonder if they can keep pace, because they're not my favorite tire around this track. But yeah, the only one who played out okay is I guess Jan, who was in P14 before this all happened.
He's going to be hoping for a little bit of carnage behind him. When those people, like you say, on the hard compound tyres, they're going to struggle for pace. So maybe he'll hope that when he puts the soft tyres on later on, that will play into his hands. But obviously they've lost barely any time with this safety car being out. Going to be hoping for maybe the likes of Kelvin and Old School to really start going at it. Steph has jumped back ahead of B Morgan in the pit stop phase. So B Morgan, after taking that spot from, has fallen back behind him. Isotopic still runs fourth, but he's on the hard tyres. He's the first person on a set of hards. All three of the drivers in front of him that have pitted are on the medium, so he's going a little bit different. Hero Jokin is also on the hards, so is Breaker Fen. Kiki is on the mediums in the second Williams car. Steve is on the hards ahead of Tekken, who's also on the hard tyres, and then Langfell is the only other driver on the medium tyres. Frederick, Harry Nowak and David round off the people still going. A lot of people on those hard compound tyres. The people at the front are going to be hoping that those medium tyres, for the likes of Old School, Steph and B Morgan, fall off a cliff at the end of the race.
Yeah, they do, and they really need to, because otherwise, it's just no chance of them getting a good result. But yeah, it is Spa, and there are a couple of really tricky curves. So it's not out of the question that there could be another safety car today. I mean, the place we saw Foster Kelvin crash out. It's a really tricky curve if you go too wide, and you're just so close to the wall that you're gonna crash out if you lose control there. Just everything can still happen, and if there's gonna be a second safety car, it's gonna be good for the medium runners.
Yeah, definitely will be, but it will also be, for those in the top three as well. If we do get another safety car, they can come in a little bit later on and put the soft tyres on, and that will work out beautifully for them if those are still on the hard tyres behind them. But that is a risk you take by going on these medium tyres at the start, as if you get an early safety car. This is the problem you have, and with only 3 people now at the front of the field on that alternate strategy, that's kind of good though for the likes of Old School and Steph, though, isn't it? Because they don't have a lot of traffic to work themselves through.
No, they won't, and they've got the fresher tires. I mean, 5-lap old mediums aren't old, but yeah, if they can keep up and overtake them, they're gonna be benefiting of it for sure. And the hard tires are just gonna struggle in cornering speed and straight line speed. So yeah, it's kind of heaven for Old School Stuff and B Morgan.
It definitely is. We've seen though already in this race that pretty much everyone was within at least a 2-second window of the car in front. Pretty much everyone from about 4th down was within DRS range of the car in front. So the field spread in terms of outright pace doesn't seem to be that big. I'm wondering whether it is going to be a little bit difficult for Old School to work its way through, especially if we do form a DRS train, and that could work beautifully for either Lighty or Jan. Get out at front and start to pull away if everyone behind them continues to battle them. Especially for those especially with their battle with the people on the hard compound tyres, and like you said earlier on, the hard compound tyres, while you are for sure to get to the end of the race on the hard compound tyres, the pace of them around here, especially in the middle part of the lap, is going to be poor compared to the mediums.
Yeah, it is. Second sector, you're losing so much time, and I think it's the guys who took on the mediums did the better choice than the hard runners today.
Yeah, and obviously these guys, we have had 2 laps behind the safety car. We get going at the end of lap 7, and that is probably the earliest you could have pit from the soft to the mediums anyway. So these guys are probably going to get to the end fairly easily on these medium tyres, unless any sort of craziness happens a little bit later on, or they burn through their tyres, which I'll be shocked if anyone burns through a set of mediums in these closing laps of the race. So we'll have to wait and see how this one pans out. Isotopic on the hards, he's the lead hard runner. We'll see what his pace is like compared to the 3 drivers in front. He was matching them pace for pace really when they were on the medium, when they were on the soft compound tyres earlier on, so we'll wait and see. But Lighty then is going to lead them back to the green flag. The safety car is flat. The safety car is just coming up towards the bus stop chicane now, so Lighty back off well before. When does he go though? Does it go before the bus stop? Does it go after the bus stop? Does it go in the bus stop? That's all crucial for Lighty's race. If he gets a good enough gap coming out of La Source down towards Eau Rouge and Radion, then he should be safe up towards Les Combes. So Lighty is waiting a little bit later. He's not going just yet. He's gone just before the braking zone for the bus stop. So now he goes, and into the bus stop chicane he goes, and it looks like he's got a good jump on Jan. Jan, though, a great run through the second part, and Kiki with a time penalty for a collision with Steve at the back of the field. So already a little bit of carnage in the braking zone, but Lighty and Jan have got off to a great safety car restart. Kelvin's Jan's been dropped a little bit in third place. Old School didn't have the best of restarts. He probably won't be close enough to Kelvin to mount a challenge. Going for it is on the overtake, trying to get the move done as quickly as possible. Jan on the overtake, yes he is. He's trying to get the move done on Lighty as quickly as possible. Lighty didn't get the best run up through Radion, and Jan is flying at the top of the hill. He goes round the outside, and just like we saw Old School do to Steph at the start of the race, Jan breezes past Lighty in a straight line, and that was without DRS. Breezed past with a great run through Obuj and Radion, and Jan now leads the race then from 17th on the grid. Lap 7 and Jan leads. I didn't expect to be saying that, but Lighty drops down into second place. Kelvin still runs third. Old School wasn't able to make the move stick, but look at that. B Morgan didn't have the best of starts. He's a second down on Steph at the moment, but he's already a second clear of Isotopic, who's struggling on those hard compound tyres. Kiki on the mediums has got a time penalty, but look at him. He's crawling all over the back of Break FN.
Yeah, and that just shows how much faster the medium tyres are compared to the hard tyres.
Oh, has Old School gone off? Old School spun the car at Puon. Wow, he's hit the curb, I think, on the inside of Puon. He hasn't got any damage, but our net race leader, for a great opportunity to win the race, has spun out of contention. What a shame. He spins back behind his teammate. He's still on those mediums, so he should have the pace on the hard runners in front, but from the net race lead, Old School spun himself out of a possible win.
Oh yeah, devastating. He's lucky not to have front wing damage, so he can go on. And enough straights here to cool his tires a bit down a bit. But yeah, it's devastating for him, for his race, and yeah, just gifting Stefan B. Morgan a place and costing him points, and he needs them so hard in this championship battle with those guys.
He really, really does, yeah. What a shame for him. But yeah, Steph now back in the net race lead then. So that pit stop has worked out beautifully for Steph. Was running third before the pits. He's now the net race leader. He's got Kelvin, Lighty and Jan in front. And Lighty's trying to get the move done back on Jan. And this is what these two don't need. They don't need to be battling each other this hard, because they're only going to lose time. And they need as much time as they can before the end of this race. Lighty, though, on the ERS, trying to get the move done again down towards Lake Com. Jan is on his ERS in defence. Lighty is going to look to the outside line, but he's not close enough. Jan holds the race leader for the time being, but Lighty, all of a sudden, having looking slow at the restart, is now looking faster than the Mercedes man in front. Kelvin doing a solid job, still running in third place. Steph and B. Morgan behind, and they have gapped Isotopic quite considerably as Harry Nawag and David are going for a battle further down the field for 15th place. Harry Nawag just holds on to the place ahead of David in the Alfa Romeo, who lost out heavily in that pit stop phase. He's dropped down to the last of the runners. Langfell's already passed Tekken meanwhile, and he's now on the back of Steve as Langfell picks up a time penalty coming out of the corner with no name. But you can just see the pace difference the mediums have. B. Morgan nearly 2 seconds clear of Isotopic already.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, they're so much faster, but yeah, Kelvin, Steph and B. Morgan are really lucky. Jen and Lighty keep fighting, and they're really just burning through their ERS as well. I mean, they're on 50% now, as they could be working together and giving each other a better chance at the end of the race, because it's just costing them time, and they can't get away from the guys behind them who already made their pit stop.
Yeah, it is a little bit, it seems like a little bit of a waste at the moment, and now Kelvin's under big pressure from Steph. Steph's had a good lap that time round. He's tucked up behind the Red Bull. Can he go for a move? DRS has now been enabled, so they are going to be forming a little bit of a DRS train, so that might be a problem for Steph and B. Morgan if they want to get the moves done. They might have to think about doing it elsewhere, but Steph has saved up pretty much all of his DRS, and again Lighty is going for the run down through Eau Rouge and Radion on Jan in front, so still a battle for the race lead. Jan again having to defend. He's on the ERS in defence of the Ferrari man, who's on his ERS in attack. He's using a lot of it, and Steph is also using a lot of his down the Camel straight. He's going to look to the inside line. Kelvin will hold the outside line. Lighty's got back into the lead of the race around the outside of Jan. He's got the move done, and Steph's now got the move done on Kelvin as well. So while Lighty and Jan continue to battle, it's only playing into the hands of Steph and B. Morgan, who are starting to work their way forwards. Steph now up into third place, and that's put a card between himself and his closest rival B. Morgan as well.
Yeah, it does, and I noticed Jen is really running a setup with low downforce. I mean, Lighty with DRS and using ERS, he just barely got by on the Camel straight, which is a really, really long straight. So Jen has a really low downforce setup and going for speed over straight line speed over corner speed.
Yeah, and it looked to work for him at the safety car restart, but maybe he's just losing out to Lighty now in the middle part of the lap, and that's why he seems to be a bit slower than the Ferrari man. And Steph's now trying to get the moved on the Mercedes driver as well. B Morgan in the background trying to get the moved on Kelvin. Kelvin's picked up a time penalty for exceeding track limits, so now B Morgan trying to go from 5th to 4th. He's going to look for a move at the bus stop, trying to go round the outside of the Red Bull man who's moved to the inside line. B Morgan could be later on the brakes on the fresher tyres, is later on the brakes on the fresher tyres. Kelvin runs into the side of him, a little bit of contact. Kelvin loses the car, but B Morgan gets the move done around the outside, and he's up into 4th place. He's back behind Steph, but Steph is still closing in on the back of Jan at the moment and has a lot more ERS than both drivers in front of him, so this could be a fairly easy move for the Haas driver. Meanwhile, Isotopic and Hero Doken have broken away from Break FN, and they're now closing in on Kelvin after his little error at the bus stop chicane. Steph, though, up at Radion. Has he got the run on Jan in front, or does he just sit and wait? That's the thing. Obviously, these two drivers in front will have to pit in this race. Steph is using his ERS down this straight, but I think he recognised that he wasn't going to get the move done, and Jan is going back for a move on Lighty into the Lacombe chicane, but can't get it done. Meanwhile, further down, Break FN has made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped behind both of the Williams cars, so both of the Williams on the medium tyres are now ahead of Break FN, and Steve's also trying to get the move done, but he can't get around the outside of Malmedy, so he'll have to stick in 11th place for the time being, maybe dive to the inside line for Beau Rivage, but he's not quite close enough. But Old School and Kiki starting to work their way back forwards. Old School's actually passed his teammate in all of that as well, so he's back up into 8th place. Hero Joking and Isotopic the next targets for them. And you've got to say, while they're a little bit further behind Steph and B Morgan, Isotopic and Hero Joking on these hard compound tyres aren't doing that bad of a job.
No, they're not. And this is what Lighty and Jan should have done. They're not putting pressure on each other. They're just staying behind each other, trying to pull each other to B Morgan and or B Morgan and Kelvin. And actually, they were losing a lot of time. They were 2 seconds behind them.
Well, I think B Morgan, meanwhile, sorry to just cut in there. I think B Morgan might be going on a move for Steph here. He's on his ERS coming out of Curveball Frere. He's looking at the back of Steph coming through Blanchimont. He's going to go for a move at the bus stop chicane. Jan's in defence of Steph. Steph moves to the inside line. B Morgan's trying that outside line at the bus stop again, but he's not quite going to get it done. But B Morgan trying to get past Steph before Steph can get past Jan.
Yeah, and Steph really is getting held up now by Jan, so he needs to make the move, or B Morgan's going to get him. Which now plays into the hand of Lighty. But further behind as well, Old School and Kiki, two teammates in the Williams, they are battling each other so hard. They were lucky Break FM made a mistake, but if they don't watch their temper, one of the guys is just gonna be crashing out today.
Yeah, and Old School going for a move on Hero Joking, but Old School's pretty much out of ERS. Meanwhile, Jan has redone the move on Lighty, so Jan's now back in the lead of this race, and Steph wasn't able to get the move done. Old School's trying to get the move done on Hero Joking. Hero Joking forced off the road, it looks like there, and there's a little bit of contact at Malmedy. Old School loses the car. Kiki had to back out of it, and Break FN's trying to capitalise on it as well down the inside of Beau Rivage, but that was a day late and $1 short, and he's not going to get that move done. Hero Joking, though, a bit wide on the exit of the corner, so around the outside of No Name. Can he pull that off? That would be a brilliant move if he can, and he does. What a move from Kiki, brilliant stuff. Left Hero Joking just enough room on the inside, and he gets swamped by both the Williams drivers. So when one Williams driver goes through, the next one follows suit fairly quickly afterwards. So they're working their way back forwards, and you know what, Old School still isn't that far off the back of Stephen B Morgan, and they are still stuck behind Jan and Lighty. So Old School's not out of the picture just yet.
No, and I think they're crawling up to Isotopic as well. And Isotopic is right behind Kelvin, so yeah, they're not a podium finish as well. And
will be Morgan again going for the move on Steph. Meanwhile, down towards the bus stop chicane, he's got the inside line. Steph runs into the back of Lighty, spins him out. Steph has to back off to avoid Lighty. Beautiful B Morgan, like a parting of the Red Sea. B Morgan now into second place. Lighty now back the way for Kelvin, who's coming back through. That's worked out beautifully for B Morgan, though. Now runs second. He's just within DRS range of the championship leader. He's just outside of DRS range of the championship leader, Jan, and they're all battling in the background. Old School's got ahead of Isotopic and all the carnage. He's now trying to get the move on Kelvin done as well, as now Lighty's trying to repass Steph, but Steph, a crucial error, just tried to outbrake B Morgan, and in the process ran into the back of the Ferrari in front of him.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about earlier. If he doesn't get past Lighty or Jan,
comes Lighty again. Lighty's just going to breeze round the outside. Steph's got nothing in straight line speed, and Lighty just breezes back past. When we got Kiki, meanwhile, trying to get a move done at Malmedy around the outside of Isotopic. He couldn't pull that one off, and Hero Jokin's coming back at it down towards Beau Rivage, but can't get it done. It's all kicking off now in the midfield. So We might see a few mistakes here. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, B Morgan ever so slightly closing in on Jan, but he doesn't need to rush. He's got a car in between himself and his closest rival who has pitted, and Jan is still yet to pit in this race. So this is beautiful for B Morgan. He could retake the championship lead here. Meanwhile, Kelvin and Old School running side by side down towards the chicane. Lafania chicane. Can Old School go all the way around the outside? He'll have the inside line for the next part, but Kelvin has more momentum, but he runs a little bit wide. It looks Old School's going to get the move done down towards Stavilo. He is. Old School, a brilliant move once again. The Williams drivers are on a charge, and he's now back up into 5th place. Steph is the next car in front of him, and that is for position on the road. So Old School now runs in a net P3. Meanwhile, Isotopic trying to defend from Kiki. Kiki's brought himself right into play on these medium tyres. He's charging through the field. Kelvin's trying to come back at Old School though, round the outside towards the bus stop chicane. Can he brake late enough? No, he can't. Topic dives down the inside from a mile back, somehow gets it stopped. Oh, and Kelvin cuts across Kiki to get into the pit lane, and Kiki taken out of contention through no fault of his own. Kelvin from the wrong side of the track just darted across the road in front of Kiki, the Williams driver, and Kiki picks up front wing damage as Kelvin drives into the pit lane. What a shame for Kiki, who looked like he could have been battling for a podium place. He's completely out of contention now, and it's all still kicking off. Meanwhile, B Morgan's closing in on Jan. It's 0.6 of a second at the front of the field. Is he going to go for the move on the Mercedes man? He's not close enough. Further down the field, we've got Tekken trying to make a move on Steve. He's looking at the back of the Mercedes man, and Frederick's right in that as well. David's finally got past Harry Nawag. It's all kicking off in the middle part of this race. Absolute carnage and chaos going on around them. No one able to make the move though. Stick into Laycom, so they stay in the order they are at the moment. But Jan needs B Morgan second, and B Morgan's in the prime seat to win this one.
Yeah, he is, and he can take it easy because he's like 1.7 seconds behind him. But wow, I just don't know where to watch sometimes. I mean, it's so close and so much battles going on, and especially Camel Straight. It's just we can just go down on with R2 and see overtakes left and right. It's incredible stuff these guys are pulling off.
Yeah, really, really great racing this has been so far. I'll tell you what, Jan must be massively frustrated we had that safety car, because out in the lead of this race, without Lighty battling with him, Jan has got searing pace. On 12-lap-old medium tyres, he's holding B Morgan firmly at bay. B Morgan isn't really able to get close enough to make a move stick. Jan's doing a solid job on these tyres, but you'd imagine he'll coming in the next couple of laps for the set of soft compound tyres. He will come out in 14th place with it all to do in front, but Jan doesn't have a time penalty. Pretty much everyone behind him does, apart from B Morgan, Isotopic, and Tekken at the moment. Jan stays out for another lap. Lighty also stays out for another lap on his tyres, so they're still yet to pit. Isotopic on the hard tyres. You would expect the hard tyres, the pace they have now, will start to level out with the mediums, and Isotopic has done a good job so far of keeping himself in contention. He still runs in a net 4th with no penalties, and obviously last time out Isotopic gained massively on the penalties for people around him, so let's see if he can do the same thing here today.
Yeah, and yeah, to be honest, all the hard runners did really well, because I thought they would lose out massively, but they're not, and here they go against Steph. Overtook Lighty again.
B Morgan's trying to move on Jan, meanwhile down towards Mal, but Jan's trying to squeeze B Morgan to the inside of the road. He's trying to make it as difficult as possible. B Morgan gets a great run down towards Beau Rivage. Jan's trying to go all the way around the outside. There's contact. B Morgan's going to slide the car. He just about holds onto it, but Steph is trying to go round the outside now, and now the outside for No Name. Steph's going to get back in the net race lead. My word, B Morgan went for an audacious move at Beau Rivage, and I don't know if Jan turned in or whether B Morgan just understeered into the side of the Mercedes man, but now Steph is back in the net race lead. B Morgan doesn't have a penalty, but that doesn't mean he won't pick one up later on in this race, so he had a comfortable margin, and that margin's gone.
Yeah, it's really a little bit too much risk for my likings, making the move on Jan. Probably Jan is going to come in this lap and go into the soft tire, so I just would have waited, and he had a comfortable gap to Steph, so it was really unnecessary to go for this risky move.
Yeah, unfortunately, Breaker Femimol has left the session. He was in a battle with Steve for 8th place on the road, but he's out of the session, unfortunately, so hopefully he can get back in for the end of the race. Let's see if Jan comes into the pit lane. Does he come in? Yes, he does. Will Lighty follow suit? Lighty will follow suit, so they're both into the pit lane, and now we will see the net race lead, the net race order here. So Steph is our net race leader. B Morgan, though, runs second with no penalty. Old School's back onto the podium despite a spin early on in this race, and Isotopic still runs 4th with no penalties on the hard tyres, so no one is out of this battle yet. Tekken running 7th at the moment with no penalties on the hard tyres, so he could gain on his teammate and Steve in front. So anyone really could end up winning this race because everyone is so close in the field. Meanwhile, B Morgan trying to get back past Steph has got to run. He's going to go to the outside line and Steph can't do anything about it. Steph really struggling in a straight line, doesn't put that much of a fight, and B Morgan is back into the lead of the race. So B Morgan doing all he can to try and retake the lead of this race. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. Tekken always towards Lake Com. How on earth has that happened? Has he had contact with Frederick? Full safety car. Wow, so this blows everything wide open. Frederick and Langfell, I think, got involved in a different accident in just kind of response to Tekken's crash. And now, do the lead drivers come into the pit lane? That's the question. We've still got, obviously, Jan out on the track now on a fresh set of soft compound tyres running in 11th place. This will bring him back into contention, and he doesn't have a time penalty. Do the leaders come in for a set of softs?
But just imagine Jen or Lighty doing the bold thing and go on an extra lap on their mediums. They would have been able to pit to the softs now on soft tires and keep the race lead. Just one lap too late for them.
That is one lap too. That is unlucky, but at the same time, it's still quite lucky for them that they've been able to close back into these guys without having to push on their tyres, and they will gain on penalties alone. So, what do the leaders do? B Morgan leads the race, then he's got a lot of cars between himself and Jan. So, I don't imagine he'll have to pit if he still wants to beat Jan in this race. That's his main target, is beating Jan and Isotopic, but he's in. B Morgan's in for a set of softs. Steph's in, Old School's in, Isotopic's in, Hero Jokin's in. Everybody is in the pits apart from Steve. Steve has stayed out. Isotopic is in the pit lane, David's in, Harry Nawaga's in, Break FN is staying out on track, he's rejoined the lobby, he's back in his car, he stays out on track, Langfell's into the pits to replace his front wing, Jan obviously will stay out on these tyres. Where does he come out now relative to everyone else? So everyone else is coming down the pit lane, will he take the lead of this race? Steph is just coming through the pit exit now, Steph's jumped back ahead of B Morgan again, and B Morgan's going to come out I think just ahead of Jan coming down the straight. Jan is going to get ahead, he just beat him out I think. I don't know though, B Morgan's trying to get back ahead of him. I don't know if Jan got that place or not. I think he did. I think Jan did get that place, so that's worked out beautifully for a championship leader. He's ahead of his closest rival.
Yeah, incredible stuff. He just split the two, or is he letting him by now? No, he isn't. He just split the two under the safety car. Great stuff. Yeah, we just let's get ready for round 3 of this already.
Yeah, round 3 of this race. My word, this has been a crazy race so far. And I tell you what, B Morgan is trying to re-overtake Jan. I don't know if B Morgan thinks he should have that place, but Jan hasn't been given a penalty for it. So Jan seems that he's definitely got that place on merit. So B Morgan may be just a little bit frustrated that Jan's come out ahead of him, unfortunately. But that's the way it is. So, and the one thing to note here as well is that out of this. So Isotopic now runs in a net P4 in this race of the people that have pitted, and he doesn't have a penalty either. So our 3 top championship contenders all next to each other on the road, all with no penalties.
Yeah, great stuff. And Isotopic again last week as well. Just having some bad luck at the beginning of the race and having a solid race after that without penalties, gaining massively. And if it stays like this and these guys can keep up, and it's kind of questionable that Steve and Break FN stayed out, and you just have to hope that they don't hold you up for too long and you're out of DRS after that.
Yeah, I think maybe Steve is hoping maybe for the likes of what happened with Jan and Lighty at their safety car restart. We saw obviously Steph and B Morgan start to battle behind, so maybe they're just hoping that the same thing happens here and that the people behind start battling and they can give themselves a break. But 10 lap old hard tyres compared to fresh softs around this track is going to be a massive pace advantage. So this race for Jan and B Morgan really counts on how quickly they can get through the traffic. Steph obviously is our net race leader of all the people that have pitted, but he does have a time penalty, so at the moment he will not win this race. It depends whether he can get through the traffic quickly. Steph, it's not out of the question that Steph could still win this race. If he can get past the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes driver in front of him incredibly quickly, he could clear off into the distance and build that 3-second gap. Yeah,
he definitely can. I mean, we've seen he's a great driver, and if he can overtake them at Camel Straight, maybe, because he's gonna have a much more better run out of the first corner than Steve and Break FN. And Jen and B Morgan are holed up there, and he can break away that lap because there's not really enough space in the corners after that, as we saw B Morgan to overtake them, but the hard tires are not gonna have any. Uh, yeah, but yeah, that's the one thing Steph is hoping for now, and yeah, let's see if he can pull it off.
Yeah, fingers crossed he can pull that one off. That would be great to see if Steph could pick up this race win again. Another race where Steph's been challenging at the front of the field and it's not quite gone his way so far. The good thing here for Jan, though, is that his teammate is now in the lead of the race. So Steve won't, I would imagine Steve won't put up that much of a fight compared to Jan, but he probably will put up a fight against B Morgan and Isotop to try and help his teammate out. And we've not got a lot of laps left in this race. When we cross the line, the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. It's lap 18 of the race. We'll have 5 laps left in this race to go. So that's not a lot of time to make your moves count. They've got to make them quickly as Kiki again gets a time penalty behind the safety car for contact, this time with Harry Nawag, and he's broken his front wing. So Kiki didn't have a penalty and was running in 12th place, could have regained a lot of the places he lost after that contact with Kelvin, but he's crashed behind the safety car for the second time in this race.
Yeah, and he's gonna drop back massively, because if there's a race restart now and he has to pit, it's race over for him. He's not gonna gain any places after that, or he's gonna have to have a super race. But yeah, just again from Kiki, as we saw in multiple races, one mistakes which costs him.
Yeah, he's had the pace all season long, and he's looked like he could win races at pretty much every round we've gone to, and it's just never really ever gone his way. It's almost pretty much exactly the same as his teammate Old School. They've had almost identical seasons at this point. So I think both of them will be gutted that they're kind of not really in the running at the moment. But the safety car, as we predicted, is in this lap. Steve will lead the way, and Steve is running a very, very slow pace at the field up as much as possible. Bit earlier than Lighty. Lighty obviously went just before the bus stop chicane. The safety car's already coming into the pit lane now, and Steve's already gone, so he's gone before Blanchimon. He's gone a lot earlier than Lighty did, so he's broken the gap to break FN quite nicely down towards the chicane. How quickly can Steph close in on the back? Jan did not get away at all well. He's 1.2 seconds behind Steph, so that's perfect for Steph. He's got free reign at the cars in front, and look at the run he had at the bus stop. He's already going for the move down the outside of break FN towards the braking zone for the hairpin. How late can he brake? Very late around the outside. Break FN's going to leave him the room, and Steph is just going to drive clean around the outside. What a move that was from Steph. Already up into second place. He's now got Steve directly in front of him. Can he get the run through Origin Radion and maybe have a look down towards Laycom? I don't think he'll quite be close enough. It depends on his straight line speed, and Break FN's coming back at it. Meanwhile, Jan has got enough of a gap back to B Morgan to sustain that. Old School's looking at the back of Isotopic, but he's not close enough. No one down towards the back of the field is close enough. Kiki and Harry Nawag are both into the pit lane, but beautiful safety car restart for Steph. He's already up a place as Hero Jokin and Lighty now battle over 8th place on the road, and Hero Jokin just holds on to that 8th place for the time being. But beautiful for Steph. He's got past Break FN immediately, and Jan had a poor restart.
Yeah, he did. He was kind of napping at the restart, and it was quite early to go, so I can't blame him that much. But Steve, yeah, this is what we talked about. This is what he wants. Has to get by Steve now really quickly, but must say, Steve is doing a good job so far, holding him up, and Jan is back at the gearbox of Break FN again. So yeah, he's doing a good job and compensating for Jan's sleepiness at the restart.
Yeah, and I mean, Jan at this point doesn't really need to go for the move of Break FN. He just needs to hold B Morgan and Isotopic behind. He doesn't really have to make any crazy moves. He just needs to defend at this point of the race to extend his championship lead. Steph is still going for that move on Steve at the moment, but he's not going to be close enough into the bus stop chicane, so he'll stay in second place for the time being, a bit further down the field. David's trying to work his way forwards after he's had a bit of a poor race at the back of the field in the Alfa Romeo, now running in 10th place, looking at the back of Lighty for 9th, who benefited as well as Jan did at that safety car restart. We've entered lap 18, we're on to lap 19, and look at that fastest lap from Old School. Fastest lap of the race, good stuff from him. Steph again looking very strong out of the bus stop, but look at Break FN. Had a great run through the hairpin. Steve was really backing Steph up through the hairpin, so now Steph is going to be under a little bit of pressure from behind as well as in front. He's going to have a great run there. Oh, Steve gets on the grass there through Radion, and he's off the road, and Steph is immediately through. Break FN's going to go for the move as well, and you would imagine Jan's going to get it done on his teammate as well. He moves to the inside line. Can he get it done on Steve? He's going to maybe have a look at Break FN as well. Down the inside goes Jan. Steve doesn't put up a fight. Perfect for Jan. He's got a car between himself and B Morgan. Yeah,
I don't know how Steve hold on to his car, but that was really on that spot of the track. But yeah, great teamwork between Steve and Jan. Didn't put up any fight. But Break FN on hard tires is really doing well. I mean, Steve Steve down Jan a little bit, but or Steve down Steph a little bit, but Breakerfan can keep up, and yeah, I wonder if he's gonna let Jan by because he knows he's on a different strategy, or if he's gonna hold him up.
We'll have to wait and see. Does Jan go for the move, or does he just stick behind the Alfa Romeo driver and try and help Steve in his defence of B Morgan? But B Morgan looked like he had an incredible run through curveball Frere. Is he going to go for the move on Steve? He is, but Steve's using his ERS in defence, so B Morgan isn't able to get the move done towards Blanchimont. Can he get the move done? Maybe down towards the bus stop again on the overtake, but Steve's going to move to the inside line. B Morgan, though, that's an open gap around the outside, and we've already seen B Morgan try this move, and all Steve spun the car on the apex of the corner. I don't know if he had contact from behind, but Steve, from a great position again, is spun out of contention, and he's all the way down to the back of the field, so that puts B Morgan back up into 4th place. Meanwhile, Hero Joking, Old School and Lighty are 3 wide into La Source. Lighty is going to get the pair of them. What a move from the Ferrari man. Old School drops down to 7th. Lighty gets 2 for 1 and is up into 6th place. He's fighting his way forwards nicely, and now Jan's going to go for the move on Break FN. This is prime opportunity. While B Morgan's a little bit far back, he's going to go to the outside line on the Alfa Romeo driver. You would imagine Jan's going to have this one down towards Lecom, and he does. He's up into 2nd place. He's close enough at the moment to the back of Steph to take the race victory. Break FN now runs 3rd, and B Morgan's not close enough to get past. Oh, Old School's round again. So I don't know if he tried to go for a late move or whether there was just some brief contact, but again, Old School has spun out of contention and he's back down to 13th. What a disaster this race has been for Williams. Lighty holds 6th place at the moment, but what a shame for Old School. Again, looking like a top 5, and it's gone away from him.
Yeah, it did, and Old School was the one who tapped the behinds of Steve in the bus stop chicane, as Old School is just fed up with it now and DNF. But yeah, Old School and Lighty were going side by side on Cal Straight, and Lighty just turned in a little bit too early, I think. Touched Old School, and Old School just spun and lost his car.
That is such a shame for Old School. He must be gutted at this point that that's how his race has turned out. What a shame. Looked so good at the start of this one, but we're going to go back to the front of the field. Steph, we've got 2 laps to go. When we cross the line, the gap is 2 seconds, so it's not out of the question that Steph could still pull away. And we've now had another crash in the middle sector. Harry Nawalg and Kiki running at their own at the back of the field have hit each other again in this race, and again Kiki has picked up. My word, these two can't be separated on track, and they've crashed into each other again at this point. What a shame for them. Break FN is still doing a very solid job in these hard tyres. He's holding on to the back of Jan enough to keep himself ahead of B Morgan and Isa. Topic is now trying to get the move done on the Renault man, but B Morgan has got such a run down through Eau Rouge and up through Rallion. Can he get the move done on the Alfa Romeo driver? He's almost out of ERS, but so is Break FN. Break FN's going to move to the inside line. B Morgan tucks in the slipstream. He's going to duck to the outside line for the braking zone, but Break FN's got some great straight line speed. He now moves to the outside line. B Morgan late on the brakes down the inside. He dives it from a long way back, and there's not enough room. Break FN holds it. He was entitled to turn into the corner. B Morgan just understeers into the side. B Morgan getting desperate to get past Break FN and close into Jan, and he's making very, very bold overtaking opportunities. He's trying to make them work, and it's just not working for him.
Yeah, he's growing impatient, more impatient every lap, and maybe his crash last week just is still on the back of his mind, because we haven't seen B Morgan making any mistakes before last week in any race this season. So yeah, probably it's just done in some mental damage last week.
Maybe it is there. He's trying to make up for it. Jan, I think, is actually doing a very solid job here. Keeping Break FN in DRS is actually helping him, because Break FN can use the DRS to defend from B Morgan behind. So I wonder if Jan's going to back off a little bit here in the DRS. If he does that, though, Jan's going to lose the race lead, and look at that. Steph's got it up to 2.8 seconds in a lap. Steph has pulled 0.8 of a second on the Mercedes driver, so Steph at the moment is on course to win this race with the pace he's got. What a remarkable turn of events that would be if Steph picks up the race win here. Jan through the final corner, and Steph the fastest lap of the race, a 44.3. He is flying in that Haas at the moment. Jan's got some ERS in his back pocket that he can use if he wants to now push and close back in, but he's already dropped below that 3-second window. Break FN's dropped out of DRS as well, so his end of this race really depends on how well he can defend from B Morgan behind, coming up towards Lecon. But again, B Morgan's had a brilliant run out of La Source, and this time around you would imagine that B Morgan's going to get this move done fairly easily. Break FN though a little bit further down the road this time. B Morgan though has got the DRS. Break FN doesn't have the DRS. Break FN moves back to the racing line. He's moved to the middle of the road. B Morgan's going to shoot down the inside line. Break FN late on the brakes around the outside. Oh, and there's a bit more contact. How on earth? Oh, is Isotopic now makes contact with B Morgan. B Morgan's off the road. Has he hit the wall? No, I think he's just got the way with it, but he's spun the car.
Whoa.
Oh, my word, he held on to it, but he's dropped all the way down to 9th. My word, B. Morgan from a great opportunity. Break FN, how on earth he drove all the way around the outside of B. Morgan. There was a little bit of contact, but Break FN left B. Morgan enough room. How on earth on 16 lap-old hard tyres was Break FN able to hold on to that position?
Yeah, how he did that, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to call him and get a lesson because I have to race tomorrow. And I want to be able to do that as well. But in the meantime, Steph just increased the gap to 3.3 seconds. It's really going to be, it's going to be so close to the finish. Is it going to be Jen or is it going to be Steve?
It's going to be so close. Jan's got more ERS here to use down this back straight, and he's closing in on Steph as we head down towards the bus. He's using his reserves. It's down to 2.9. It's all going to be about the bus stop chicane. Can Steph get the car stopped and get it turned nicely? Can Jan do the same? But around the final corner, Steph, for the second week in a row, is going to win on track. Isotopic and Hero joking and battling over 4th across the line. Where's Jan going to be across the line? Misses out by 7 thousandths of a second. Isotopic gets on the podium. Break FN ends up 4th. No, B. Morgan gets back to 4th on penalties. Break FN 5th. David ends up in 6th place. What a recovery from him. Langfell, Hero joking, light team Frederick round off the top 10. The second night in a row. Last night we had someone missing out on the race win on penalties by 3 thousandths of a second. Jan misses out on his second race win in a row by 7 thousandths of a second. But from 17th on the grid, Jan beats both of his championship rivals and extends his championship lead.
Yeah, and it's been close all season, but I haven't seen it this close at the end of a race. 7 thousandths of a second. And yeah, Jen was confident enough and tried to do a last to first challenge, but didn't completely succeed. But yeah, P2 from starting last, just what a great result from him. What a drive, and again, what a consistency from him.
Absolutely brilliant stuff, but hats off to Steph. He makes up for the disappointment of Silverstone and Baku, and he is able to claim his first win of the season. Where has this pace been for at the start of the season? Steph could have been right in the championship hunt with the pace he's shown in the last few rounds. He finally gets that first win of the season for the Haas team. Brilliant job from him by the smallest of margins. I mean, could you get any closer than that? That's incredible. I mean, I've never had a race I've never commentated over a race finish where we've had it less than 100th of a second, and I get two nights in a row. That's absolutely incredible. Thank you to Division 3 again, just completely shocking us with the races we have. But it's Steph that wins the race from pole position in the most unlikely fashion. Jan gets second from 17th on the grid. What a drive. And Isotopic again, 3rd place. The lack of penalties that Isotopic had really benefited him, and he now jumps ahead of B. Morgan in the standings, I believe. So now it's Isotopic in 2nd place behind Jan. B. Morgan, a crucial error on the final lap, desperate to get to the back of Jan, he had to move down on Break FN. Break FN, fair enough, went clean around the outside of him, and B. Morgan in an aggressive defence just pushed to a little bit too hard and made the mistake. Drops him to 4th. Break FN 5th on a set of hard tyres. Great stuff from him. David 6th. That's their best joint result for an Alfa Romeo this season, I believe. Langfell 7th ahead of Hero. Jokin 8th. Lighty 9th, and Frederick rounds off the top 10. Kelvin 11th ahead of Steve 12th. And Harry Nawalk and Kiki, who could not keep themselves apart in this race, they were 13th and 14th. Old School, Tekken, Frosty, Calvin were those out of the race. Old School quite late on after 2 spins. Tekken causing the second safety car and Frosty causing the first. My word, once again, D3 gives us an incredible race. Steph comes out on top, but amazingly, Jan extends his championship lead.
Yeah, incredible, and yeah, they delivered again. And I only have one question, but I think I already know how you're gonna answer it. Who's your driver of the day today?
You might be able to read me like a book. You're gonna guess. You're gonna guess who it is.
Yeah, I think you're gonna pick Jen.
100%. I have to go with Jan. I mean, obviously, the safety car did play into his hands, but he drove that incredibly smart. He chose his battles. He went for the right moves. He didn't get too overly aggressive, and it paid off beautifully for him. While he'll be gutted that he didn't get his second win in a row, he gets his 4th podium in a row and still extends his championship lead, even qualifying last on the grid. So he has to get my driver of the day today.
Yeah, yes, and he's starting to get unbeatable. Last week, good result. Today started P17, finishing P2, doing really well. B. Morgan, watch out.
Yeah, definitely watch out. Jan has taken the reins of what B. Morgan was having at the start of the season and what F1 AMG had last season. It's almost like he's just assumed the persona of F1 AMG in the off season has become one with that person, and they're basically the same person now, because this is exactly the kind of run we saw from F1 AMG last season that got him the championship. So on the Mercedes once again, I don't know if it's just something in the Mercedes that's giving them these people the results. I mean, it's obviously the real life car is incredible, so maybe that's translated over into the game, but who knows? But my word, what a brilliant drive! What another incredible race that was for Division 3, and I don't know how the rest of the season is going to pan out, but the final 4 races of the championship, they are going to be something to behold, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they are. And which track are we driving on next week?
Next week we head to Singapore, so we could not go to a completely different track if we tried.
Yeah, completely different track, but also, yeah, and it's gonna be a night race as well, Singapore. Always love night races. But yeah, that's gonna be a cracker again, I'm sure. I mean, it's a pretty difficult track, but we've seen these guys handle them really, really good. And I think it's gonna be another great race, and they're gonna perform really well again next week.
Yeah, we head from a race where overtaking was king to a race where track position is king, so qualifying could be all important next time out, so I'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But if Steph continues his run of form, Steph could be in the pound seat to win 2 races in a row. I'm really happy for Steph as well. Obviously, he'll be gutted that he got damage early on in the Baku race when he was looking set for a podium finish. He won the race on track at Silverstone last time out, but the penalties cost him, and this time round, he left it. He won it by the finest of margins. He put himself at risk, but he's finally able to get his first win of the season, and moving on to Division 3 even next season, he's already asserting himself as maybe a challenger for the next season's title.
Yeah, he is, but there are so many challenges, and yeah, what you said, he really put himself to risk to try and keep the gap above 3 seconds, and he did really, really well. So it's what you said, well deserved from him. But yeah, next season, I mean, he's probably out of contention now for this season, but next season, yeah, together with a couple of other fast guys who were a bit unlucky this season, he's definitely going to be up there.
Yeah, and now Stefan obviously running 10th in the championship. They want 56 points. With Simply Superman not being here today, that kind of almost rules Simply Superman out of championship contention now as well, because of obviously our championship contenders today finishing 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So Simply Superman would have dropped a number of points. So he's got a lot of work to do in the final few rounds of the championship. And that puts Steph really firmly in the battle for P4 in the standings at the moment, along with the likes of Lighty, Old School, Kiki, Hero, Jokin. So he's right in the thick of that battle as well. But that is where we're going to end off the stream today, guys. Thank you once again for joining into another incredible race. That was so thrilling to watch, and I cannot wait for the Singapore race next week. Obviously tune into League Racing TV as well for Divisions 4 and 5 races tomorrow. Hopefully Conti can get his 2nd race victory in a row. That would be great to see. Fingers crossed. I'll be watching it and cheering you on, Conti, but can't wait for that. And obviously tune into Drivers streams as well for CRC on Saturday and Sunday. Actually no, don't, because it's a break week. I completely forgot about that. It's a break week for CRC. So this week we have obviously the sprint, the Challenge Cup. The EML Cup, yeah, the EML Challenge Cup on Sunday, yeah, that I will be commentating over. So myself and QVR Dakar will be commentating over that this Sunday at 8 PM. So tune into that. That is sure to be great. That is obviously the final. We have obviously the top 2 teams from each qualifying round going into the final for that one. So tune into that on Sunday, and then we're back to usual again next week on League Racing TV. But for myself and Conti, it is thank you very much and goodbye.